Yo.
Yo.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good.
Good stuff. It's Bannon, right?
Bannon, yeah.
Bannon, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Pete, of course, and that is Al, who you've been communicating with.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello. Oh man, we're
I
getting serious. You with your
know.
crossed arms.
Mm. Oh, wait. Where you cross your arms, and then you were told to cross them the opposite way right after that. Give it a try.
All right.
Do that. Do that.
That's weird. That feels really weird.
Yes, it is.
Jeez.
Oh. So how's it over there? How you been?
I've been pretty good. Just did some stuff yesterday at the beach. That's why I was not able to do podcasting.
Nice.
I'm trying to develop a game idea that I had about, I think, 2007, of a almost Street Fighter beach volleyball hybrid.
Nice. Actually, we saw some of your 2007's work on your Twitter a while ago. I mean, our going on about it, how you've changed so much in that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the old art is actually embarrassing, and I wish I could go back punch young Bannon in the face. But yeah, couple of friends. One girl is a stunt woman, and they happen to play volleyball. So I was just sitting there like a creep with a camera to be filmed. And got a bunch of art reference of them falling, spiking, and passing. It was a good time.
Nice. The perfect way to do game design on a beach.
Yes, it's a rough life.
Oh,
Yeah,
kind of jealous.
I remember a couple of months ago yelling at you to start like this project up again.
Yeah. It's still it's one of these like very future projects because I think I'm working on like 5 different things right now.
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
insane your output.
Yeah,
It makes me sad to see because it's like, if only I could do one project and like see you do 5. It's like, God damn it.
I've actually had to tell 2 other people I just can't do it. Like, it's like I think I had about 7 of them. I'm just like I can't. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's fun, but it's still a little bit stressing trying to keep up with everything.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But making River City Ransom really got my output level to go very fast. Like to churn out each character, there's about, I don't want to say how many characters you can play as because some are secret. But each of them have about 30 different moves, and I
Nice.
I can't even recall how many animations there were done for River City.
Oh God, 30 the
It's
moves. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Damn. Well, should we start with the interview? Because that's pretty much very interesting stuff we want to put in there.
We'll start with this interview. Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Huge Update, episode 23, I believe. We're joined by, I've forgotten your name. How embarrassing.
Bannon Rudis.
Bannon Rudis.
It's like canon with a B.
Yeah. It's the best way to remember it.
So, Bannon, you've currently corrected us. You're working on almost 5 projects right now, but 3 of them, one of them is River City Ransom, Kerfuffle, and Wrestle Run. We're wondering what was your role on each of these, and all these cool-looking projects.
River City Ransom River City Ransom's a weird one because before the Kickstarter even happened, that was my main goal. That was me teaching myself how to actually do sprite animation, like traditional sprite animation. I'd get old Kunio sprites, and for those not in the know, Kunio is the Japanese version of River City Ransom. So it's called Kunio-kun, Japanese word, something. But in Europe, it's Street Gangs. In the US, it's River City Ransom. And River City Ransom only had one game in '89. And they never did any official sequels here in the States. So I wanted to learn how to actually animate. So I would get the sprite sheets. I would inspect how they did it because I loved how expressive they were with these chubby little stubby figures.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have much to work with, but for some reason they were very expressive. So I wanted to do just like a free, like little quick game of River City Ransom. Just go, hey, I love this game. I loved it as a kid. And so I was looking for a programmer, and this went on for years. And then on, I think, TigSource, I found a programmer, and he was looking for an animator because he had bought the rights to River City Ransom.
Oh wow!
So we were looking for each other. It was fate.
Match made in heaven.
Yes. So yeah, we immediately just started talking on the phone and pretty much got to work right away on doing the Kickstarter and trying to make this shitty little game I wanted to make into an actual official sequel. So, so my role on it is pretty much I can't code to save my life. If my mom was being held for ransom by some like evil supervillain and he had the weird demand of like code me a simple ball bouncing game, I'd be like, dude, just I love mom, but
you just wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, throw her into the sharks. I can't do anything. I pretty much no music, no sound effects, and no programming, but everything else, I guess.
So like lead designer and sort of artist then, really, an animator.
Yeah, on the team, I'm definitely the one that likes fighting games, and that's actually accustomed to them. So it was a lot of sending the team videos of like the nuanced things of trying to explain between how Dalsum jumps compared to how Chun-Li jumps in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So things like that. I would find combo videos or anything I could find, and I would send that to the team and go, try to replicate this. So, like air jumps, things of that nature in fighting games, I really wanted to capture that feeling. And so gameplay and then all the art. Did have a buddy called Midio. He does a lot of sprite work. He's pretty much everywhere. Everybody loves him. He joined on to help with sprite sheets because familiar with sprite sheets, I imagine?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So each character, the sprite sheet is just this massive amount of different hits that they can take, like rolling, getting hit in the stomach, getting hit in the face, falling back, falling on their shoulders, and the amount of characters and enemies I just couldn't keep up with. So Midio joined in. It's tedious, but it's necessary work. So I felt bad that he's such a talented guy just doing tedious work like that, but he joined on. And then Justin, I think his last name's Syr? It's SYR. He worked on Scott Pilgrim. He's one of the tribute guys. Cool. He was on board when we first started. So he did about I think 7 animations for a certain thing, and then tribute needed him back. And of course, if tribute too bad, go back to tribute. We're just a couple dudes, you know. So he had to unfortunately leave. So I got, I guess, 6 or 7 animations from him.
Yeah.
So that helped. I was like, yeah, I'll take it.
And how many animations altogether do you think there actually is in the game then?
I swear the programmer told me one time because he calculated how many. And I think it was something like 1,500 animations.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the thing was, we'll go with Street Fighter again. Street Fighter, Ryu, and Ken are so similar. Like when they first came out, it was, I'm wearing a white gi and you're wearing a red gi. We will punch the same way, we'll kick the same way, everything's the same. They just palette swapped them. And then eventually, over time, like when Street Fighter 2 Turbo and things came out, they started to kind of nuance them a bit. And so I was going to do that to where it's like, yeah, this guy would punch and then I'll just go in there and palette swap them and swap the heads and stuff. But while I was in there, it would take the same amount of time for me to recolor and put a head on and like change the clothes. So I was like, why wouldn't I just make every single move individual?
Yeah.
So yeah, nobody punches the same. Nobody kicks the same. Even when I was doing the sprite sheets, particularly Paul, he's the boxer character, he would actually get black eyes. Glenn, the guy with the hat, he would try to hold on to his hat in certain animations. Because out of tedium and boredom, I would just start doing things to entertain myself.
There's a lot of attention to detail right there.
Yeah, just because of boredom. That's pretty much why there's attention to detail, because I just got so bored of doing the same thing over and over. So yeah. And so yeah, I think there's like 1,500, and that's not even including background animations and the levels themselves.
So for a pixel art game, that's an incredible amount of animations. And you're doing, of course, it's a fighting game. How many frames of animations go into each particular punch?
So when I first started, I was trying to really replicate old Technos games where a punch would be 3 frames and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I started, once I got used to, because River City was pretty much me teaching myself how to do animation. So when I got down how to do punches and kicks and all that things, I started really inspecting Street Fighter 3 sprites, and those are just amazing. I don't know if you've ever heard. Just seeing Ryu punch is, I think, about 10 to 12 frames of animation.
Wow.
So
yeah.
So yeah, I started replicating what Street Fighter 3 would do. So yeah, each frame, like, I could actually just look it up. A simple punch, I think, is about 8 frames of animation.
Wow. So you just wanted to kind of go, as you said, more detail on everything, and just create a lot more work for yourself. But
yeah, that's part of why the game took a while. I mean, I am technically done with art. That's why I've been trying to do the new projects. Programmers are still trying to, play catch up.
Yeah.
Because I got, like you said, the output thing is I got really good at needing to generate all these animations in an incredibly fast fashion. So yeah, I am looking up right now. I'm just going to look up Glenn Punch and see. Glenn is kind of the standard Street Fighter character.
Yeah.
So he is the Ryu, Ken, Akuma, even Dan, and Sean of the game. So let's see here. Just gonna look up.
So he's your Shoto then?
I'm gonna look up Groggy Punch. So Groggy Punch is when this is kind of like a punch finisher, and this one has 16 frames of animation.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a little more absurd of a punch. Like he punches and he slips, and when he's falling, he kicks up dirt and it lands on his ass. So, so he gets this like little dirty butt at the very end of it. But yeah, 16 frames in that one.
Wow, that's incredibly a huge amount. It's very rare that you get the programmer, I find, finishing afterwards. Considering how much artwork you've done, it wouldn't have surprised me if you said the programmer had finished the game and you were just kind of putting the assets in. It seems to be the other way around.
Yeah. It's the other games that I've worked on, they're always kind of surprised how fast I can send things back to them, but it's like it was more of just because I had to get good at being fast.
Yeah.
To get all that stuff out there.
So do you create games full time then, or do you have a job as well then to coincide with this?
My part-time job is actually working on TV and movie sets because I'm in Los Angeles and that's the job that you do when you're here. But I think it was Friday. I was on the Lethal Weapon show at a pool party. So it's
your life seems a lot more interesting than ours.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they filmed me talking, but I'm not supposed to say any words, so you just mouth words and pretend that I'm at a Coke party, and then they feed you, and that's my job, I guess.
Can we
So,
trade roles? You know.
oh, yeah. Anybody could do this job. You meet the weirdest people on set because they will take anybody. So
I couldn't even imagine actually what it's like. You mentioned going back, of course, to River City Ransom. You had the Kickstarter project though, and that was successful. You mentioned, of course, you were involved
in
from.
the last couple of days, it was successful.
Oh wow! So yeah, what was it like running the campaign then?
I had never done one. I'd never done anything like this. Pretty much, I was just a fan that got to make the game that he loved as a kid.
Yeah,
So, like, I had never done a game before, so I had never done any type of social media, none of this. And yeah, you said it was successful, but I believe it was in that last week that it became successful.
mm.
And I think a lot of it had to do with my buddy Jonathan Holmes. He posted one thing on Destructoid, and that got so much traffic.
Wow. So would you say it's literally almost who you know in that sense and what they do with the Kickstarter project that kind of made it hit the milestone?
Yeah, because I didn't know what we were doing wrong to where we weren't getting that much traffic towards our Kickstarter. Like it did. We were getting, we had hit a good
Yeah.
amount, but we hadn't hit the goal yet, which was I think 220,000,
Mm.
and we were almost there, but it just wasn't moving as fast as other Kickstarters that I had seen. I think we did the wrong thing, which is um, apparently Kickstarter was not legal in Canada. So we were waiting for it to become legal. Like, it's an official thing. And the very first day of it becoming legal, because Daniel is from Canada,
Yeah.
that's when we posted our Kickstarter. But that was pretty much in the same time as Mighty Number 9 and Hyperlight Drifter.
I see. So you're up against some quite big games then, really.
Yes. So it was just bad timing. I think if we had went afterwards and not waited for the Canadian release of Kickstarter, then we would have been in a better place. But we still made it. So.
Yeah, totally.
But,
What kind of tactics do you have to implement? Because we've never done one ourselves, and you mentioned for you it's a complete learning experience. Like, how did it go from, like you said, not really doing social media to kind of having to be on it, and what artwork did you have to get ready for that, and how many videos did you have to produce?
So we hadn't had whatever. We didn't have the engine yet. Everything is built from the ground up.
Yeah.
Use Unity or anything or Game Maker. So we didn't have the engine up and running yet. So a lot of it was animations that I had made. I had made, the fake scenes and stuff to show. And I'm surprised how much we actually did capture of those just ideas that were in my head at the time.
Yeah.
So did a lot of animations. I did a video that half people loved and half people absolutely thought was dreadful. Because I'm in LA because of I actually wanted to do film. That's why I'm actually here in LA. I didn't come here to make video games. Video games just happened to come to me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do the Kickstarter video. I definitely wanted to film something. But yeah, some people thought it was funny. Some people thought it was the stupidest thing they've ever seen. So I was like, all right, whatever. So that's one thing I learned was try not to, the comments that you see, you can get 90 great comments. People just saying you're like, oh, that's amazing. Your artwork's great. You can get one comment that's telling you you're the biggest piece of shit in the world and you will believe it. And that's the only one that you remember. So it's a weird thing that how much that does affect you. And I had never been privy to that. I've never been, on the opposite side of internet hate.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest learning curves, was trying to get used to that.
Because you were now in the limelight.
Yeah, I mean, people didn't, they had no idea who we were, and a lot of people River City Ransom is a cult classic, and people hold that very near and dear to their heart. It's very precious to them. So when some stranger just comes out of nowhere and slightly tweaks the formula and makes it look a little updated, then you're pretty much just stepping on the neck of their child, and they want to kill you. So,
But you did it and just going ahead, which is the main thing.
Yeah, we didn't get on the internet afterwards. We took a week break. It was the thing of nightmares, like literal nightmares. I would be having stress nightmares just knowing that there was like people out there that hated me. I think it might be like my next door neighbor. I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
It's like they just a 13 kid, but still, it gets you right here.
Yeah, you're not the only one who said that, actually. A lot of people have mentioned stuff like that, and I recently watched the indie game movie follow-up, and the Super Meat Boy team were saying exactly the same thing you're saying now, and they actually took a break from the internet.
Yep. Yeah, I just watched that last week. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting how it's kind of resonating the same sort of vibe.
Then it had a weird anti-backlash, and a lot of good was like being pushed towards us, and that was a great feeling. So,
and I imagine now it's kind of coming. Would you say it's coming to a close then, or was there still quite a while in the development process for it?
The thing is, right now we're trying to balance the fact that it is, since the first River City Ransom was an open world game, this one is also, and it's still a beat 'em up game, and you level up like an RPG. And you buy moves and you buy items, and to try to balance that and still make the player play the actual game how it's supposed to be and do the story, it's very hard to try to make sure that somebody doesn't eat that one item that can just make them level up to just godlike powers within the first, I don't know, like hour of playing the game.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, balancing issues of always with fighting games.
Yeah. It's a fighting game, but then at the same time, they can go wherever they want. So they can get to later levels that have better items. So we had to try to figure out ways of, no, you can't go there yet. Please don't go there yet.
Did you like implement sort of Metroidvania-esque ways of cutting them off, or have you still let them go and tried something else?
There is one spot that we did have to close off. So if they got past this, then the whole flow of the game would have been ruined. And it's not even, you won't even notice that it's there.
Yeah.
Because if you're going by what the original game looked like, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is the original game. But it's like, we haven't even shown a good half of the city yet. So
that's awesome. So when are you going to be kind of showcasing more of it then?
I don't know. I really don't know, because a lot of people want to see more of the game, and I think it's just because of me. I don't like watching movie trailers.
You don't, especially the new ones, yes, like Batman versus Superman.
Never even saw it. Like, if I'm at the movie theater, it looks like I'm praying every time a trailer comes up.
Yeah.
My eyes closed, eyes down. I'm just trying to just channel it out. Because I looked up, I presume everybody here, us three, have seen Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Yes.
Magneto. He's acting cool. He's like, yeah, I'm one of you guys. I'm a good guy. I looked up for 1 second of the trailer, and I see him floating down with the Sentinels. And that's the only image I saw. But the only thing I've known from watching the movie, I was like, well, I know he betrays him because I've seen him fly down with his Sentinel posse behind him. So it's things like that. It's like, I don't want to show things because I love that element of surprise and showing, I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree. You don't want to give away too much. And that's the problem with maybe too much modern-day trailers in games and movies.
Yeah, there are certain things like you can show them that are just like, oh yeah, this is a cool thing, but it shows you nothing of the story. It shows you nothing of like this cool thing that I just want you guys to discover in the game. Because there are little things in there for people to discover. I will just say a hint is the rake weapon. There's a rake? You can pick it up. You can hit people with it. But there's a thing about it, and that's all I'll say.
Nice. So for people that actually
about-
don't know about River City Ransom, how would you sort of describe it without giving away any spoilers? What kind of game they're in store for?
So, original River City Ransom is one of the first free roaming open world games, and it was a fighting RPG. But essentially, all you could do was punch and kick, and then you could do punch and kick in the air, and then you got other moves, special moves, which was punching 3 times really fast or kicking 3 times really fast.
Nice.
It was the limitations of the game and the sprites, it was
Of
just
course.
what they had to work with. So with the new River City Ransom, we didn't get a sequel up until now. So in my head, I tried to think of what the game would look like if the Nintendo still existed in 2016 and they had updated the game since then.
That's cool. So kind of giving that retro feel with a modern spin.
Yeah, so the only thing I cheated with graphics-wise was the color palette. I added 8 new colors on there, which were just pulled from the Japanese Famicom. So they had the PAL version and NTC version, and PAL had slightly different colors, and I use those slightly different colors to make different skin tones, because in the original one, everybody's just a white Japanese dude with black hair. So
Yeah, not a lot of variety there.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure I could actually do different ethnicities.
That's really cool.
So other than that, with the graphics themselves, I didn't do any cheating. I didn't do any rotation effects or transparency. If I needed something to be transparent, I would have to figure out how to do that. So I guess what to expect, it's pretty much a River City Ransom sequel if there had been a ton of other ones that did exist but don't exist in between.
That's really cool, but very loyal to the original though, like lovingly crafted from it.
I even found a cover of an old River City Ransom comic book that when I think I was 9. So I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm a big fan. But yeah, so new River City Ransom, it's 4 players. Very, very combo heavy, to where I would imagine, especially with the Japanese audience, they're going to find out ways to juggle a guy until the end of time.
they always do.
Yeah. The thing I loved what they did with the engine was a lot of games, when you make an animation, you have to center the character. You give it to them in separate PNGs, and then they try to figure out how to do it in engine to move them. The engine that they built, I could send them an animation as is, and it would work. The physics would take over at some point. So if Glenn does his dragon punch and he's doing the falling down part, the game engine knows that he's falling down. So you might do a dragon punch, send a guy flying up, he lands on a higher platform, and you will also, because you're in free fall from the dragon punch.
That's really cool. So it's like, as you said, it's all natively programmed. You haven't used a game engine, and because of that, you've been able to replicate a lot of the original feel.
Yeah, and update where it needed to.
Yes.
Because even the fact that if you jumped on a platform in the original game, the enemies had no idea what to do, so they would just stand there and watch you, like creeps. So if you just jumped on a fence, they would just stand underneath you. They wouldn't move. They wouldn't do anything. But yeah, it was a challenge. Just the jumping alone was about a week worth of work, trying to figure out how to capture the feel of the jump, but make it to where you're not floating across the entire level. Because if you ran and jumped in the original, you would have, I don't know, this like just beyond Olympic level jump that would just be this floaty kind of thing. And yeah, jumping alone was just a week worth of going back and forth trying to figure it out.
Yeah, refining it down, making sure the mechanic felt right.
Yeah. So jumping is very nuanced. Hopefully people will like it, because I even wanted to make sure that you could jump in with a combo. So much like a Street Fighter game, how you usually jump at an enemy, start off with a jumping roundhouse or whatever. So yeah,
That's really cool. Like capturing all the nuances of like other fighting games like Street Fighter, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I said, if this game series had been going on since '89, maybe once or maybe every 2 years they put out a sequel, what the game would look like if Nintendo still existed as the NES. So,
They still exist. Have you not seen the Clay Model one or the Micro NES that's coming out?
yes, I have.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It is really cool. That's fair enough. We'll move away from that. And as you mentioned, you've done the art now for River City Ransom, but you're still working on a multitude of other projects, like Clefuffle and Wrestle Run. What is kind of your involvement on those two then?
So with Kerfuffle, that is a game that existed already. They were looking for a background artist. Background art, it's not my forte, but like I said, I had to get used to drawing a good magnitude of things. So backgrounds was something I was like, yeah, I could do that. But I sent them an original little kerfuffle animation of a guy doing a move. And so this is a weird circumstance too, because they're like, oh, well, shit, we wanted a background artist, but we don't want to lose you because of this one animation that's fantastic. Like, okay, we're going to go with this other background artist, and then we'll have you come on to help out with character animation. The other background artist, I had no idea. I was just talking to him the other day, seeing if he wanted to do a project together, and it's Midio, the guy that helped out with the sprite sheets on River City Ransom.
Oh, wow, that's a small world right there.
And he told me, like, dude, I just got a job doing Kerfuffle. I was like, I just got a job doing Kerfuffle also. So, no idea we're going for the same exact job, and I just happened to work with him again because I'm doing character animation instead. So, yes, incredibly small world.
Yeah,
So,
I feel Nathan was just like rubbing his hands during all of this, was going, yes, I get the best of everything.
yes, petting the cat menacingly. But yeah, it was just on Twitter. That's the one thing I would like to talk about, is the fact that for any upcoming artists or anybody that wants to get into game art or whatever, like if you want to get into the industry, definitely use Twitter. I had never used Twitter before. Because of Twitter, that's how I got the Kerfuffle job. Just try to stay in contact with people, post your stuff, don't overpost. Just post one thing, maybe a day. And it seems to be really about how you tag it also, so that gets in front of people. And then once that thing is seen by people, then that thing spreads to other people, and that thing might spread to a person that wants to hire you. So
that's really cool, actually. So you say Twitter is sort of the way you've kind of grown in the industry, really?
yeah, it's something I mean, I was just a Facebook guy posting cat photos to my mom. So,
But were they cute cat photos?
oh, they're fucking adorable. Yes. He's actually been trying to get into the room this whole time. But yeah, I highly recommend Twitter. Just trying to figure out how to get your stuff out there. Just try Twitter, and eventually somebody's gonna love it.
Nice. Like, how would you recommend people go about with their tagging? Because of course, hashtagging and whatnot is quite a skill, as you said, to kind of know what you're doing. How would you kind of recommend, and what would you recommend really in that area for people that aren't used to Twitter?
Like an old man, I had to look up what were the best hashtags. So
yeah,
it's almost like when a kid says when they say raffle or just anything like that, and you're like, oh yeah, raffle. Then you have to go home and you Google, you're like, what is raffle? Oh, shit. So it all depends on what you're trying to do. I usually put in indie dev, game dev, and pixel art. So those seem to be the most successful, but honestly, whatever you're trying to do, look up that thing and there's a whole top 10 list of try these hashtags and these will help you like get into the eyes of people that you want to see your stuff.
And was Twitter also how you got involved with Wrestle Run then as well?
No, Wrestle Run, that's mine.
That's completely yours then.
Yeah, so Wrestle Run is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I wanted to do a mobile game that doesn't feel like a mobile game.
Yeah.
Mobile games nowadays, they seem like they are just clever ways of slowly draining your funds and your wallet, and then gameplay comes second.
And don't forget draining your soul. That's a big part of a mobile development.
If you want to hear something scary, I can actually tell you the truth on that.
But lay it on me.
Oh right, I was actually talking to a bunch of like mobile developers the other month, and they actually told me that every month there is a economic team that come in and tell them how to best monetize.
Yeah, it's just, and it's, yeah. So Wrestle Run is just, I just want to make a game. That's pretty much it. I want to make a game. It's only, there's no buttons. It's just right and left tapping.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, a lot of it was inspired by a game called Punch Quest. And same setup, just right and left tapping. Have you ever played Punch Quest?
No. Is it similar sort of concept, or were you static in that game, or?
No, it is a free runner or infinite runner, whatever you want to call it, and pretty much, I forget which one it is. One uppercuts and then one does a punch forward.
Yeah.
And with those intricacies of, well, if you're doing the uppercut, then that's kind of your jump. So you do a jump, and then if you do the punch in midair after that, you can do all these different combos. And cool. I absolutely loved it, and there wasn't anything in there to really try to monetize and try to, if you want to get past, level 30, you got to buy this thing, or you've played enough today, so maybe pay $1 and then you can play some more. And none of that was in that game, and I love what they did with it. And then there's also Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery, and nothing in there. It's just a game. They just made a really good game, and it just happens to play on your phone.
Exactly. But back before this whole monetization craziness came about, this whole free-to-play model.
Yeah, but I mean, Candy Crush has been doing it since they came out. They've been out for a while, and I think they make about $500,000 a day. I don't know if that stat even exists anymore, because I don't know if people still play it. I'm not too sure what.
Think more like 2 million a day, and you'd be right.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and it's just, I've actually never played the game, but I don't think that's just from pure sales of selling the game. Even if I don't even know if it's a free game or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's free, and you buy, as you said, you buy for like sometimes extra time, I think it is, or whatever. My mum got really hooked on it, which was kind of dangerous.
And so Wrestle Run is just, I just want to make a game. You buy it one time, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. How far through in development is it?
It is, it's been about a year, and it was just me and a programmer. He works over on, I don't know if he's still working on it, but he was working on Killer Instinct, so this is very much a side project for him.
Yeah.
And it's more, I guess it's more passionate for me because this is like my baby.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just got another programmer on to try to expedite things. This is his first project, so I really wanted to find somebody and try to help them get into the game industry also. So I would say it's probably, I'm going to guess a year out, but it's the same thing with River City Ransom. Like, I want to add this in there. I want to put this in there now.
And the game never comes out because constantly adding a few little bits to it.
Yep. Much to the chagrin of the programmers who would love to just ship it as is, but it's got a couple more things in there. But yeah, it's just pretty much my love of wrestling. I used to do it, not the real stuff, pro wrestling.
Yeah,
real wrestling.
Real wrestling. I think there should be a South Park reference in there somewhere.
Oh, there is. But other than that, the only thing I would sell on the side that would be considered DLC is I'm really thinking of trying to get other game companies in on this and have their characters be a cameo character in there.
That's cool. Who would you want in particular? Any ones that you've got your eye on that'd be quite cool?
I mean, out of all of them, of course, Zangief.
Oh, yeah.
And probably Armika. I can't really think of any other ones. I would imagine Guacamole.
Yes,
I think his name is Juan. I did send out a thing via Twitter, of course, to them. So I'm just waiting for a reply. Drinkbox Studios, hi. Other than that, but I'm really tempted. It'll just depend on how broke I am at the time. I'm really tempted to take those funds and actually donate all of it to the WWF.
They don't need the money. They make so much these days.
No. The World Wildlife Foundation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might need it more than the WWF wrestling.
Yes. So not WWE, but the actual WWF. One, because it's funny, and two, I love animals. So
yeah.
And not only that, this way it would actually make people buy the game because oh shit, you can get Zangief in it, and I have to spend $1 to do it, but they do have to buy the game, so that helps with me. But then that dollar just goes to help animals.
Yeah, totally. That's a great idea. Helps charity.
Yeah, and at the same time, like I said, it's like, well, they still have to buy the game to get Zangief, so that helps me. But then a little kitten gets it's a little collar with a bell on it, if that's what they need. I don't know what they need.
I don't know, but hopefully that you get them customized collars with little wrestling, or maybe a luchador mask for a cat. That'd be quite cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much just because of the hilarity of donating to WWF is why I want to do it.
You can tell I haven't watched wrestling for a while, considering that's why I thought it was. Yeah.
So yeah, Wrestle Run. That's that game. Just want to make a game-ass game that people can play because they like games and not like to spend money.
Nice. And speaking, of course, about release dates for these free games, I know you want to keep adding stuff, but is there any kind of release window to any of them, or coming up soon, or?
Oh shit! I wish I knew. Otherwise, I would not be doing the day job of pretending to talk and. Well, I mean, whatever. The last couple things I've done are pool parties, and you get paid to just jump in a pool and splash people. So it's not that bad of a gig.
No, that sounds like quite a fun gig, to be fair, to get paid for that.
Yeah, anytime somebody complains when they're on set, I just want to tell them we could be scooping shit. That's an actual job you could be doing.
That is.
I mean, poo. I don't know if we could swear.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, poo's a funnier word anyhow, so. Yeah.
It is. Or dookie, or douche.
Whoa.
Okay, and when it comes to other developers that you're interested in, other people to follow on Twitter, which you've mentioned, who would you recommend?
I would recommend some of them. I don't even know what their names are because of they go by about 3 or 4 different names.
Yeah.
I was trying to get. So I put out a River City Ransom combo video, and had 2 guys that were just amazing. They're just they use the hitbox controller, which is there's no actual joystick. It's just buttons. So even up, down, left, right are just straight up buttons. And it's amazing what you can pull off with it's almost like Street Fighter typing. And those 2 guys did amazing combos and things I would never even thought of in the game. And I was trying to hook them up with the kerfuffle guy, Nathan. And one of them I had been talking to for months, and I had no idea it was him because of the 3 different names he goes by.
Do you know one of the names so that other people kind of get involved with them?
I was like, wait until you see these moves in River City Ransom. He's like, I have. You let me do combos for you. I was like, that's you. So, no idea. So who I actually do follow and who I recommend, I don't know what their names are. Uh,
Would you recommend that they don't have free Twitter handles, basically?
yeah, I would say the people that interest me the most. I have to look this up. You can ask other questions while I actually look it up.
What games are you most looking forward to this year?
Um,
Or that you've
it's the
enjoyed most this year?
That's the weirdest thing. Since I'm making so many things, I don't get to play anything. The last thing I sat down and enjoyed was the Battlefield 1 beta.
How did
That's
you
about
find that as a beta?
Um, I loved it. I love that World War One, World War Two aesthetic. I have a game, I think two game ideas. This will be years from now, but that are set in that era. It's almost like a real life steampunk, but without the stupidity of steampunk, where they put cogs on their glasses because it's like unfunctional cogs on their shoulders and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I just love that World War II and World War One aesthetic. It's
Mm.
a weird thing to enjoy. Like, yeah, I love that time when people were trying to really kill each other in intricate and interesting ways.
Up
But
close and personal, none of us gun monarchy, you know?
yeah, people choking on mustard gas. That's awesome. Uh, but it's such a weird. People are so inventive with what materials they had to try to kill another human.
Mm.
One of the weirdest things I've seen is a curved barrel where they would stick the barrel, this weird curved barrel, and it had a loop on it. And this is a way that you can shoot almost at a 45-degree angle up, but it would make the bullet come straight down into the people in the trenches.
Wow.
So it's just like a weird aesthetic that I love. So I loved playing Battlefield 1, just seeing biplanes and tanks that just look like big shoeboxes with guns poking out of them.
Yeah, the old tanks. Do you feel they kind of captured that quite well then?
I wasn't there during that era, so
No, you know what I mean. It'd be like from historical books. You know, you have obviously a little bit of knowledge. You know.
from what I've seen, it's a little heightened version of it, but it's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Will I buy the game when it comes out and sit down and play when I know I should be working on things that will take me hours to finish? I don't know. So Journey. I finally got to play Journey.
Of course, yeah, because on the PlayStation Network, isn't it? PlayStation Plus at this point in time.
Wasn't even sad, but was I on the verge of tears by the end? Yes. Why? I don't know.
Because wrestling.
Yeah, it was only about 2.5 hours, and I was exhausted by the end of it.
That's awesome.
There with my buddy, and things happen at the end that I won't say, and I'm just like, yeah, it was fantastic. I love that game.
I still need to play it. I don't know why I haven't done it yet. I've got it on my PlayStation 4. I should just sit down for those 2.5 hours and do it.
Yeah, 2.5 hours, and don't play with anybody watching or like a girlfriend coming in going, "What is this?" It's just like sit down alone. Somebody will join you randomly because that's what the game's about, and that game blew my mind. I loved it.
Nice. So have you found anyone on Twitter that you would recommend our listeners to follow?
Yeah, I started actually like thinking about Journey. Just well, we all know Nathan Rainey.
Yeah.
I love when Nick Wozniak does a Twitch stream of him doing pixels. He's the lead guy over at Yacht Club Games, the Shovel Knight series.
Yeah.
When he does a live Twitch feed of him doing pixels, it's brilliant. It's incredibly inspiring to see him do that.
So how often does he do those sort of Twitch streams then?
Not a lot lately. It was when he was doing the new DLCs, which are free. God bless him. For Plague Knight, King Knight, and I forget what I think Spectre Knight. And they're local guys, so I've been over to the studio and seen them do it in person and we have completely different ways of doing pixel art, but he's still just amazing, and his backgrounds are even more amazing.
Nice. Do you ever like compare notes of how which is the best way to do it, or?
Well, see, I do everything. Surprisingly, people find it surprising that I use Photoshop. The thing I love about Photoshop is it does layers. So I think that's what helps me expedite a lot of the different sprites that I need to do. And if I can keep a foreground arm and a background arm separate from each other and do the subtle little changes to a background arm, especially in a running animation.
Yeah.
That's how I do things. Some people use ProMotion, and ProMotion, there's no layers, and that just blows my mind.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's pretty hardcore.
I use Photoshop to do my animation. I can't do it without the layers.
That's exactly what I do, Photoshop.
I just don't get how you can do it without the layers. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Raw skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm still learning, I guess, because I have no clue how to do it without layers.
Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Bannon. It's been a real pleasure and a real like kind of insight into kind of pixel art and what, of course, River City Ransom and what you've been up to.
Yeah, it's it's my life, unfortunately.
I'm kind of jealous. Can we trade lives?
So you can come to LA and have pool parties. Get fed for doing that for some reason. I don't know why.
And you can work in retail. It'd be a cool change, yeah.
I hated it. I was a server for 15 years.
Yeah. So you know what it's like.
Yes, I do. But yeah, this is fun. Sorry if I talked over anybody or rambled on too long. And
no, not at all. Thank you so much. But it was really interesting stuff.
Awesome.
So, Al, do you want to do the classic awkward outro that you always do?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for coming along. I'm sure I'll talk to you over the Twitter anyway, as I do.
Yeah. All right. Do we say, because you're British, do we say cheers?
Yeah, let's go cheers.
Cheers, yeah.
All right, everybody say cheers. 1, 2, 3.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Cheers! Damn it.
All right.